Congratulations to Liverpool Football Club, champions of England for the 20th time. They've beaten Tottenham Hotspur by 5-1, and for the 5th time this season have come from behind in the Premier League to get all 3 points. Looking back on a well-deserved title challenge, Shaka Hislop and Mark Ogden alongside me. And when the opening goal went in, Shaka, we had a laugh on Friday saying it would be the most Spursy of Spurs things to go to Anfield and win. Was there any moment when they took the lead that you thought they couldn't? Could they?
Not really. A little too early on in all honesty. And then let's be honest, Spurs have not been a very good team this season. That's there for everybody to see. I think they, similarly, as we were discussing earlier today with Manchester United, have both eyes firmly fixed on what's to come in the Europa League. It take the lead. I didn't have me at all worried for Liverpool.
No. 5 goals without reply, Augie, to wrap up. What is key for them? They've equalled now Manchester United on 20 league titles. And that's been a big thing that United have had over Liverpool, but no more. Let's later on get into how they've won the title, them, their performance and everyone else. But just now, let's talk about this game today. And it kind of epitomized what Liverpool are good at. Not panicking when things don't go their way and finding a way, but in some style today.
Yeah. I mean, like Shaka said, Tottenham scored early. I don't think anybody thought they were going to hold on for so long, but it did give Liverpool a bit of a jolt. And it not only that, they scored pretty much 3 or 4 minutes later through Luis Diaz, and that was it. They basically steamrolled Tottenham, didn't they? 5 goals. It could have been a lot more. I think Liverpool have just been that step above everybody else this year for the consistency. I think probably the top 4, 5, 6 can all beat each other, but they haven't had the consistency that Liverpool had. Certainly, the opening. Half of the season, Liverpool blew everybody away. Nobody else has done that. And I think that's why they're champions. I don't think there's a lot between the top 6, but I think Liverpool just had the edge because, of their consistency. And today, like you said, today was their season in kind of microcosm, really. Have a bit of a wobble and then come back pretty strong after it.
Shaka, what has Arne Slot done when he's taken over from Jurgen Klopp to win the title so comfortably? What's been the biggest differences? Or crucially, what's he kept that was working, just kept doing that worked in the first place?
Well, certainly what continues to work is Mo Salah, is Van Dijk at the back, the balance about Liverpool, and the threat that they have going forward. I think Arne Slot, and you saw that from very early on, was a little bit more pragmatic than Jurgen Klopp. It wasn't an all-out, high-press, high-energy game throughout. They were better organized defensively. They sat off a little at times when they had to. They continue to be as fierce some of the counterattack as they'd ever been. And Arne Slot come in and kind of made this team his own. I think the easy, I say easy in inverted commas, thing to do was to keep this team playing in a Jurgen Klopp style. But Arne Slot, it wasn't exclusively Jurgen Klopp's. He interpreted things in his own manner, and I thought he did so wonderfully well. Keeping in mind that while we sit here and celebrate Arne Slot and the season that he's had, was it 12 months ago when, or just about, that they announced that Arne Slot would be succeeding Jurgen Klopp? Nobody knew what to make of it. It just seemed like a really strange, it seemed like a very underwhelming appointment. And now 12 months on, I'll speak for myself here. That's how I kind of framed it at the time. I'm trying to figure out how I can rein those comments back in from 12 months ago.
Jose Mourinho, Carlo Ancelotti, Manuel Pellegrini, Claudio Ranieri, Antonio Conte. What do those all have in common, Mark Ogden?
Did they win the title in their first season at their clubs?
Arne Slot joins them. What have you been most impressed with about Arne Slot this season?
Well, what's impressed me most is it's kind of off the field, really, because Jurgen Klopp was such a massive personality that he commanded all the respect to everybody, every player in that dressing room. And to come in as a coach, like Shaka said, who not many people knew much about. He come from the Eredivisie. He hadn't even won the Dutch league last year, so he wasn't even the best coach in Holland. Let's be honest, at the time. So he would have had a lot of players to convince, and I've seen it happen in the past. I saw it happen at Man United when David Moyes replaced Alex Ferguson. A lot of the big players who'd won lots of trophies pretty quickly thought David Moyes isn't the guy. He didn't convince them. So Arne Slot's biggest challenge was to convince the likes of Van Dijk, Mo Salah, Alisson Becker that he is the guy. And there's not been a peep at Liverpool all season. It's been the most serene dressing room you can imagine. And he's convinced everybody. And that is the biggest thing for me, to get that credibility straight away. Because Shaka knows better than me that if a coach doesn't fit the club or the dressing room, the players will sniff it out in 10 minutes. And he overcame that. And that's why he was able to have such success.
For someone to do that, Shaq, I mean, you've, as Oggy said, you've played in many dressing rooms, and you can smell the BS pretty early on. If someone comes in and goes, oh, hey, and gives it the whole Yahoo I am. He never did that. Now, as a player, to keep everybody happy and to not add that many players to his squad as well, and to get the best out of Gravenberch and others as well, how, when you look back at this season, obviously not in the next week or so, but in years to come, Arne Slot's first season, is there one thing in particular that people will look back on and go, yeah, that's where he was so good? Or is it just, as Oggy said, maybe a multitude of things that he's been good at?
Yeah, no, I think it was a multitude of things. I'm not sure that there's one thing in particular. And yes, Oggy's right. Players kind of know where managers stand or where they stand with them, and whether they're good enough, whether it's a right fit, and they know that quite early on. It also helps immeasurably when you get off to the start that Liverpool did, when the likely contenders, are seemingly faltering, that being Manchester City. And you have this opportunity to really kind of establish your dominance at the top of the league, and that's what Liverpool did, and that adds to the confidence that the players have in the manager and in the direction that they're going. So it was not only exclusively how well things went for Liverpool, but others externally contributed to that. But history doesn't count that. History will only count the league title win, and rightly so.
Oggy, take us to your neck of the woods, where Liverpool, before the Premier League started, had 18 titles. And then Fergie did what he did, and Manchester United overtook them. And I remember when they overtook Liverpool, when they got their 19th before they got their 20th, there was this huge thing. Just Liverpool, right, keep quiet now. We've got 19. You've got 18. Then they got to 20, and it's been quite the time, because this is only Liverpool's second Premier League title. They're now at 20. What does it mean to the Liverpool fans that United fans no longer have that over them?
Oh, it's a big thing. I mean, I'm going back a long way now, but I remember when United won the title for the first time in '93, and they went to Anfield the following season. Obviously, Liverpool, like you said, were the dominant force, 18 titles to, I think United maybe had 7 at the time. And there was a banner which read, "Come back when you've won 18." But United did. And they ended up going past 18, 19, 20. And for Ferguson, it was a huge thing. He really, really wanted to go past Liverpool. And, you have to be honest that when United went past Liverpool to make it 19, then 20, Liverpool was still in the state of flux that United are in now. And it looked like United could put 5, 6 more, 7, 8 more titles on top. Obviously, Man City's dominance as well. So at one point, it looked kind of a hard slog for Liverpool to come back. But they have come back. They've won 20 league titles. They want to win 21 now to kind of reclaim it. Absolutely, but they've got 20 league titles, 6 Champions Leagues. United have won 3, so it's kind of hard to argue that United are, well, bigger club is about other things, but Liverpool have got the trophies that United haven't got. Liverpool are now the most successful club in English football, and Man United can't argue with that.
Shaka, in most sports, you get better as you get older, and that's in your 20s. But it's very rare in football that you still get better in your 30s, like Mohamed Salah has done. I don't think many people, even he, might not have expected to have the season that he has had. He's now signed a new deal. His future is secure. He's happy in Liverpool. Would a replica season for him next season be an achievement rather than trying to eclipse what he's just done?
Listen, I think anything that Mo Salah does now is just extraordinary to witness. I remember, so I'm may be right in saying that retirement age is still regarded as 35. That's when you're done. And I know there are any number of players who've gone beyond that. There are players, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, who are still playing, and they're knocking on 40 themselves. And all of a sudden, there's this kind of change of understanding, I guess, or in recognizing how long players have to go, but you're never quite sure. Once you cross 30, 31, 32, you're expecting some kind of a drop off, and as a matter of fact, that probably has caused the kind of contention between Mo Salah and Liverpool Football Club over the last couple of contract extensions, because he's asking for big money. You're wondering, does Father Time catch up? But then Mo Salah goes out and keeps having 30-plus goals per season outings, and you have no choice but to kind of re-up on that contract, while still keeping in mind that he's getting older, and at some point where does Father Time start to take his toll? So that's the challenge. But right now, there's no sign to suggest that Mo Salah is going to be any less of a version of himself come next season, other than, as I say, the age that we affix to the player. But in terms of performances, he looks as good as he ever has.
63rd minute, Augie, and Soboslai's got the ball. And he's bombing forward. And Spurs have got one defender, which is one more than sometimes they normally have when they're trying to defend. And he can go left, and he looks left. And he can go right, and he looks right, and he sees Salah. And he gives it to Salah. And Salah does the rest. It kind of put the cherry on the icing on the cake, didn't it? That Mohamed Salah got his goal, was able to celebrate in front of the Kop. And I don't know, because the final whistle's just gone, but I think that the camera phone that he got was from a Liverpool employee, and that one will be plastered all over social media at the conclusion of this. So it kind of it meant everything to him. He got his goal, and that was kind of needed today, wasn't it? Just to top everything off.
I'm glad you solved that mystery for me, because I was watching it thinking, whose phone is that? What happens with the face?
She had a credential on, and that's why.
Does he know the passcode? He's got the Face ID. Never explained it, but yeah, I mean, Mo Salah's been their best. Well, listen, he's their talisman, isn't he? And Shaka's right; he can go on for 2-3 more years quite easily, because he, when Shaka was saying that 35 used to be the retirement age, and I'm sure Shaka will kind of accept this. Back in those days, players didn't look after themselves as they do now. Players would drink, some would smoke. I remember following one Premier League player at McDonald's drive-through once, which that was many years ago, but it wouldn't happen now. Mo Salah doesn't drink. He looks after himself incredibly well. I'm pretty sure he doesn't go to McDonald's. So that's why players can have a much longer career, because they are, and obviously they're much better well looked after by the club. The support network at clubs now, you've got everything. You've got dietitians, you've got nutritionists, you've got physios, you've got masseurs, you've got everything. So Mo Salah's got the absolute gold standard in terms of being looked after by Liverpool. So that, and obviously he repays you on the pitch. So yeah, the fact that he scored the goal was absolutely key. And I think, he's gone past Aguero as the highest scoring non-English player in the Premier League, which is an amazing feat. He'll probably go past everybody but Alan Shearer, I think, because I think Wayne Rooney, Andy Cole, and Harry Kane are ahead of him right now. Obviously, Harry Kane, Rooney, and Cole are out of the equation. So the big question is, could he overtake Shearer's record? Is it 260 goals? 260 goals on 185 now. So that's, my math tells me that's 75 Premier League goals in
very good
couple of years. It's unlikely, but if he extends his contract again, you never know. Takes penalties as well.
It does. Let's stick with some numbers, because that's very good. That was very quick. Give me some numbers right now, as far as if I asked you to give me the odds on Liverpool winning the title next season, rather than specific 5-2 or whatever. Right now, do you make Liverpool favourites to win the title next season at this precise moment?
No. I honestly, God, I think it's a real open race. I think Liverpool have got a rebuilding job to do this summer. As strange as it sounds, I think that obviously Alexander-Arnold will go, I think, to Real Madrid. So they need new right back. They need a new left back. Andy Robertson, great player that he's been. I think they're going to sign Milos Kerkez. They want a central midfielder. They need a striker, because Darwin Núñez will probably leave. So they've got a bit of churn going on at Liverpool, and they have to find the right players. So I think next season, I think Arsenal will be strong. You can't you can't write Arsenal off. I think Arsenal are probably as strong as anybody. And I tell you what, I think Newcastle next season could be strong as well, because Eddie Howe's done an amazing job without signing any players. They're going to get players in this year, I think. So Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool, and you can't rule out Man City are all going to be strong. So I don't think Liverpool are favourites. No, I think in the past we've had teams that have won the title and gone on to dominate, like Man United, Chelsea, Man City. I don't think Liverpool are set up to do that. I think this could be a situation where there's a really wide open race next year, because they're in a transitional stage, but they've won the title despite that.
They weren't favourites this season, Shaka. They were third favourites. It was Manchester City, then it was Arsenal, then it was Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool will particularly care if they're not favourites next season, because they've shown that, hey, they do what they do and they don't worry about outside noise.
No, I listen, from a footballing perspective, it really doesn't matter one way or the other how the bookies see it, where the money's going in terms of who's favorite. You know, everybody has. So in a 20-team Premier League, you're going to have 5 or 6 of those whose main concern is relegation and just avoiding that. That's a successful season. You're going to have 5 or 6 of those who have title ambitions, and anything short of that kind of feels underwhelming. Even if you finish in the top 4, you're going to have others who are hoping for a surprise. You kind of know in which department you fall. From a Liverpool perspective, it's in that 5 or 6 that are battling at the top of the table, and anything other than winning major silverware is going to feel like a disappointment. Even if you finish top 4, if you don't lift major silverware, it feels like a disappointment, and that's where you are, and you try to tool in terms of who you bring in, and you kind of refurbishment of your squad, let's call it, of your squad, towards that, and that's what matters. You get off to a good start, and hope momentum takes you, as it did for Liverpool this time around. Other than that, no, it really doesn't matter, any opinion, bookies or otherwise, going into the season. Where's Mark gone?
I'm here. Can you see me?
I'm seeing you, Mark. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know where Donaldson's disappeared to.
I think he's frozen for us. But I think you're right. Yeah, listen, I think the title race next season is going to be a bit more wide open. I'm not sure whether you think that those clubs are listed are the contenders, or whether you think that it is Liverpool and that's it.
No, I think it's going to be. You do not expect City to have another season like this, even though they have a lot of issues themselves that they need to address. But they've got Pep Guardiola and they've got money, so you kind of feel that City, at the very least, will be a whole lot better than they were this season. Arsenal put up quite a challenge to Liverpool, but we all know and anticipated where their shortcoming would be, and that's the lack of a striker. Surely Arteta and Arsenal don't start next season without signing that striker. I think that makes them a far more fearsome prospect, far bigger challengers to whoever's at the top of the table. So all of a sudden you have 3 teams who, again, to my earlier point, who, if you don't win the title, if you don't win a major title, and I'll Premier League, Champions League, or at the very least the FA Cup, if you don't win one of those 3, it feels like the season feels like a disappointment. And top 4 is a consolation prize, but not really that much of a consolation for those 3.
My internet was going along like Liverpool's, scoring goals aplenty, and then it went like Darwin Núñez when he was through on goal, and then it didn't work. And then it didn't work after that. But thank you for holding the fort. I was going to ask you, Augie, what's a bigger achievement for Arne Slot, winning this title or winning the title next season after you've just won it?
It's a good question, that, because I don't think you can beat the fact that he's completely confounded everybody by doing it this season. But it's a much steeper mountain to climb next season, because of Liverpool are champions now, the team to beat, and the expectations are much higher. He's not the new guy anymore. So I think winning it next year will be a bigger achievement, which sounds ridiculous considering he's just won the title in his first season. But there'll be a lot of clubs ganging up next season, as me and Shaka have just discussed. And I think Shaka's hesitating to say Newcastle. I'm surprised, being his old club. But they keep Alexander Isak. They've got a great manager. They've got money to spend. I think it's a 4-horse race next season.
Okay. I just wonder if Stevie Nicol believes that Liverpool will win the title this season, because I noticed they put him on our FA Cup coverage today and they kept him away from the ESPN FC Live that we do. But
for everybody's benefit, trust me.
yeah, look, it's a great day for Liverpool. They'll enjoy tonight and what's to come. I don't want to pour any cold water on this, and I'm not going to do that. But when you kind of look at this at the cold light of day, and you saw how close they came against Paris Saint-Germain, and what more they might have done, can that act as something to incentivize them for next season, Shaka? And that, look, they know they're the best of the league teams, and they're not far away from doing more. Could we be on the verge of a dynasty? Because Oggie's not quite sure if that's going to be the case. Do you think that's maybe a possibility?
I'm not going to commit to that just yet. For all the reasons I think that Oggie just dictated. You know, I think you've got to give Liverpool every single credit for how good they've been this season, particularly the first half of the season. There were times during the second half, and while they've not really lost many games, they haven't been as thrilling in the second part of the season. You wonder if strengthening the squad to continue to compete on all those different levels is next for Liverpool and down the slot. And it to really recognize that kind of dynasty, you've got to keep yourself. Be able to keep yourself one step ahead of everybody else. Manchester United were always able to do that with Sir Alex Ferguson because they were able to outspend others in the league, because they had the best manager in the world. I'm not sure that Liverpool are prepared to outspend the likes of a Manchester City. I'm not sure that they're prepared to outspend even what Arsenal may be prepared to put on the table come this summer. Arne Slot has done a wonderful job, and let's not take any kind of credit away from him. But it's his first season. We've seen what Pep Guardiola has done for Manchester City over an extended period of time. We've seen the regular progression of Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. Not hit the heights that Liverpool has just yet, but again, you know where their deficiencies lie. So there's a lot that has to come right for Liverpool and Arne Slot for us to be talking about dynasties, for us to be talking about Liverpool and Slot in the way that just 2 or 3 years ago we were talking about Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, or 15 years ago we were talking about Manchester United and Sir Alex Ferguson.
I want to end with a quick word about Spurs. 19 league defeats. That ties a club record in the top flight, Oggie. If they get into the Champions League next season by winning the Europa League, but they're 16th right now, is that enough to keep Ange in his job, or is it see you later and moving on in the summer, regardless of what happens between now and the end of the season?
Well, the Tottenham fans that I speak to, they all pretty much think that Ange has lost it now. He's lost the job in the sense that he's burnt too many bridges with the squad, with the fans, by things he's said, things he's done in terms of selection. But Spurs haven't won a trophy for, 17, 18 years now. I think if he does win a European trophy, and I think a European trophy is a different level again. I mean, apart from winning the Premier League, if you win the Champions League, Europa League, it's really bigger than the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. If Ange wins the Europa League, then that's what Tottenham fans have been praying for nearly 2 decades. So
yep.
I think it'd be really, really hard for them to part way with Andrew. I think it would be the right thing to do, because I don't think, with the performances tell you everything, don't they? 19 losses, you say, so far this season. That's horrendous for a club of Tottenham stature. So he's not the guy for Tottenham, but if he wins them a trophy, he wins them a trophy. So, but I listen, I think it's going to be Athletic Bilbao against Bodo Glimt in the final, so it's not going to happen.
However, Shaka, if it's Man United, Spurs, and Ange gets the job done, are they going to go down the same road that West Ham did after David Moyes won a European trophy and get rid of him soon after? Would you keep Ange Postecoglou if they were playing Champions League football next season?
I would not keep Ange Postecoglou for the simple reason that I don't think Spurs have been anywhere near good enough. And while I understand the sentiment that you win a European trophy that Spurs have been yearning for so long, my concern is you start next season with Ange Postecoglou, the football continues in the manner that it is. you're kind of following the same playbook of Manchester United a couple of years ago with Eric Ten Hag, that you keep him in, even though you don't really think he's the right man for the job, but you keep him in because he's delivered silverware, and then all of a sudden, 3 months into the season, you're having to make a change and bring in a manager to try to work magic with a squad that is not his own. And I think that sets your project back a year. I think that's the mistake that Manchester United made with Ten Hag into Amorim. And if I'm Spurs, I'm not going to make that mistake myself. I've got to learn from this.
But it's not about Spurs today. It's about Liverpool. Spurs took the lead. That just got Liverpool angry. And they won it by 5-1. And in doing so, clinched their 20th top flight title. Their dreams have been tossed and blown a lot since that title win of 1990. But since then, they got one under Jurgen Klopp, and they got another today under Arne Slot. 20. Not plenty for Liverpool. There's more work for them to do. Bye for now.